Hello and welcome, all you wonderful pod watchers and listeners. Thanks for joining the Now We Know Better podcast. And good job on finding us. My name is Wim Vanderzam, and I'm your moderator, keeping the flow of this podcast like cats at a laser show. During the next hour, we are going to try really hard to inform you and entertain you and share our valuable opinions. We'll call it that.
Valuable to who?
That's the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Today, with my two pod colleagues, we will be discussing Teslas and their attempt to find the elusive $1,000 engine, Trump tariffs, golf, and so much more. What else? We've got the email bag just around the corner because we always love to hear from our loyal listener. We'll also have our extremely popular prediction segment. Stay tuned for that. And what will our prediction be this week? Well, you'll see. Play along. It's fun. And everyone always seems to enjoy our world-renowned point-counterpoint segment. My two pod colleagues dueling head-to-head over current affair topics. Let's see how that plays out between David and Tom today. Who will the loser be this time? But first, we welcome our two other pod members, the Now We Know Better pod token third pod leg, Mr. Know-It-All himself, and global property management mogul David Vanderzam. Hello.
Hey. I got to tell you about what happened today. My wife and I have our granddaughter out.
And our third
for a few days.
Sorry.
Is that a topic?
The weather has been pretty bad, rainy more than anything else. It's not cold. Today it was actually nice in the morning, so we headed out. And Wim knows that behind my home, there's a creek that runs. It's called Stony Creek. And 2 weeks ago, I had our other two grandchildren out, and we went down, and we saw some, a good amount of salmon in the stream, dead and alive. Not too many alive salmon. Well, today I went down, and oh my goodness, Wim, there were hundreds and hundreds of salmon in this. It was straight out of something you would see on a wildlife nature program. It should have been on Nature.
So, what kind of salmon are these, other than
they are chum, because
okay.
They're pretty big salmon, and we have coho in the stream. And then walking home we have it must be a 600-year-old fir tree. For some reason, never got cut down when they went through 100 years or so ago. And there's an eagle perched up in the nest, just looking down at us. It was a good day. It was really good.
It's funny that I know where your house is, and you're kind of up in the mountain a little bit and quite a ways from any river.
Well, the Fraser River is, as the crow flies, probably 2-3 miles, but Stony Creek.
But as a creek
comes, it comes down, and at the base of it's called Bateman Park. It's pretty flat to the river, and that's about 2.5 miles. So it's almost like a ditch from there on. But before that, it's a pretty good incline, and maybe 2 weeks out of the year, the creek runs dry in the upper part, but always flows by our place. But it was so impressive to see that amount of salmon and all the dead salmon on the side, eggs everywhere. The only sad part, I have to tell you, is there was a volunteer down at the pool at the bottom of the stream, and he was cutting two salmon, slicing them open, and there were two female salmon, and they were dead, and they were still full of eggs. So there's some concern, he says, that they're not spawning as they should. There's lots of fish. He says he was a kid growing up here, and he must have been in his 70s. He said it wasn't even called Stony Creek back then. And he said this is the most fish he's ever seen. And it might be the fact that there's so many fish in the stream that it's causing some problems. Who knows? But it was good. It was sure nice seeing
gridlock.
What's that?
Like traffic jams, like salmon traffic jams?
Well, it may be that it's a stress level, Tom. So many fish. They have feelings too.
Well,
So
tell me about
maybe
it. I
having
sit in
so many fish stress the other
traffic
fish
gridlock
out,
all the time. I
and
can
they
imagine
can't.
what
They have a
those
hard
fish are
time
going through.
performing when they're under stress, like
It's got to
Wim.
be terrible. Can you imagine?
Maybe it's
I mean, they don't even
well,
have traffic lights, do they? Nothing. They don't have a high occupancy salmon lane with, if you're carrying 10,000 eggs, you should be in the HOV lane.
Well, I wanted to. I was thinking about dredging the stream because there's a lot of drops and kind of little mini waterfalls that makes it hard for them to get upstream. So I thought maybe I'd just level it all out, just get an excavator in there and take care of those drops.
Yeah,
Probably
maybe a little
smart.
dynamite.
okay.
Could use some- that'd be cool.
Being the environmental expert that I am, it's called spawning envy, just so you know.
Spawning envy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I believe it.
Sometimes they give up because it's just they're so envious of the
So that's
Under.
the reason I was a little late to the pod today, because we were delayed down at the creek.
Well,
Ah.
it's understandable. I mean, the fish don't wait for anybody. So you gotta go with
They
the
really
flow.
don't.
No
They
pun
really don't.
intended.
And as usual here at the Now We Know Better podcast arena and fifth pod leg, telecommunications Goliath, Mr. Tom McDonald. Any fish stories for us there, TT?
Fish stories. Well, I was out on the golf course today, and normally we see bears. It rains a lot up here, so this time we were actually seeing salmon on the fairway, swimming across the fairway. And there's actually a little waterway they built saying, caution, let the salmon pass. They have right of way, and don't go
Right of
retrieving
way.
your balls in the salmon laneway. So there's some positives for the deluge of rain vortex atmospheric rivers we get here when you're golfing. You get to see fish pretty much everywhere, and a chance to wear your scuba gear.
Well, you must see
Yeah.
seals out there also, right? They're going to follow the salmon.
Saw a few seals. Yep. Bears with
Oh, well.
waders on. The bears had waders and little floaters because it's a lot of rain.
Well, thank you for that, Tom, and a good visual I've got going on there.
Nice.
To get things going, as we should get going, we're going to go straight to the email bag. And Tom, how's that jingle coming along for this segment? You did send out some options this past week. Are we close?
Yes, you're right. We have I don't know if you can hear this. I think this is the one you liked. Was it the 32? It was this one, I think. Let's see if you guys can hear it.
Nothing yet.
Well, that
Nothing.
sounds like the current jingle.
Oh, it's
That's the trouble I was having with that.
there you go. Did you hear that?
No,
Well done.
no.
Dead
That's
air.
a-
That's always
That is
good.
the trouble I was having with that too. I had jingles, and then I'd go to play them, and you guys couldn't hear them. So I'm not sure how to overcome that problem.
Well, it's
but-
called plagiarism. It's
Well, we'll
blocking
test
your
that later. Okay?
plagiarizing.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, our email bag question comes from Dwight P. of Surrey, British Columbia. Thank you, Dwight, for the question.
Did you say Surrey again?
Surrey.
That's not how you
What
said it
did-
the first time. The first time you said Surrey.
Surrey.
Ah, there you go.
Surrey. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's more like it.
I'm sorry.
I grew up in
Okay.
Surrey.
What is
Uh,
an
you-
email bag?
Have you guys been drinking this morning, or what the hell's going on? All right.
Happiness is having never to say I'm Surrey again.
Surrey
mean,
seems to
Surrey.
be the hardest word.
Surrey is the biggest city in Canada. I'll have you know.
No, it's not. That's
No, it
not
isn't.
true.
Toronto is the biggest city.
And as far as square footage goes,
Oh, here we go. He qualifies.
What do you mean square footage? Toronto's an amalgamated city now, so it's huge.
GTA.
well,
Yeah,
so is Greater Toronto.
yeah.
Yes, I'm talking about Surrey.
I
and
think this
Toronto.
falls into the category of who cares.
Okay. All right. I'm being a really poor moderator here, trying to keep things organized.
That little
All right.
cat heard it again there, Wim.
I'm cat herding. All right. Dwight would like an answer. All right. Hi, Team NWKNB. I'm not sure about that acronym. That's really quite long.
There's no vowels.
Now we
I
know
think we need
better is
vowels.
easier, I think, to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you've heard about the resignation of BC provincial Conservative leader John Rustad. The Conservatives seem to be in disarray. What I'm worried about is the other and further right-leaning party, One BC party, potentially gaining popularity, and end result could be splitting the vote come the next general election and getting more of this NDP left-leaning overspending ways. Okay, well, thanks, Dwight. For context, John Rustad resigned as the leader of the British Columbia Conservative Party on December 4th, 2025, after a caucus revolt in which the majority of his MLAs declared they had lost confidence in his leadership. He stepped down to avoid what he described as a civil war, with what could be a civil war within the party. Though he remains an MLA in the BC legislature, the Conservative Party of BC narrowly lost to the NDP in the last provincial election. All right, what do you guys think? Dave, Dwight is worried about two right-wing parties splitting the vote. This has happened in the past, I think, correct?
Well, I don't think specifically in British Columbia. We had always coalitions of the right, which incorporated a couple parties. When that coalition failed, such as the Social Credit, that's when you'll fragment and see multiple parties, but they never really have a chance to gain power anyway. So they may be fragmented. They gain power when they coalesce again. So yeah, that's a danger, and it's a danger now, maybe different in a different context, in that they were very close to taking power in the last election. So it would be shame if they did fragment into a hard right and a centrist party. I think that it must be painful for John Rustad in that he really did, in a very short period of time, bring a party from nowhere, from obscurity, to almost forming government.
Yeah.
And to the point where the United Party, who were previously called the Liberal Party of British Columbia, no direct affiliation with the federal party, and they changed their name to make sure that they had that disassociation. But the fact that they had to bring in members from that Liberal Party into this new conservative movement, because they saw the writing on the wall. They would have naturally had a lot of disaffection members that were always going to rub against the harder conservative right. And I think that's what we're seeing now is the fallout. I think it's the right thing to have happen. Yes, there's a danger to the original question that they hand the NDP another mandate in the next election. But I always felt, and I think in our system, it shows an inherent flaw in that the leader serves at the behest of the party. It should be that the caucus is more powerful than the party leader. The party leader should always be very wary of his caucus, even more so than his cabinet. I think in Australia that is more the case, where leaders fall away. I believe we'd get better leadership, more accountable to the party in general, and thus more accountable to the electorate. That part of it I like. I think that there's enough time now between this occurrence and the next provincial election, unless Premier Eby decides to call a snap election to take advantage of the situation. But even then, that's pretty short notice, and it would be pretty transparent what his motives are. I think there's enough time that fear is not going to be really the reason if they don't win or gain government, that would be the reason for it.
Dave, do you think there's someone that can step in? That they need a dynamic leader. Is there anybody in the wings?
I have no one that comes top of mind. Kevin Falcon. Is it Falcon?
Falcon. Kevin Falcon, yeah.
Falcon was logical, but he's now, he's had his moment in the sun. No, not really. I don't think it can be anyone from the United Party, personally. I think it's
Maybe that would unite the two parties, though, if you did say to accept a leader from the United, well, the one,
yeah, fair enough.
one BC
Fair enough.
party.
That's probably a strategic move that would be smart.
Yeah, it would make sense for sure.
Yeah.
Tom, is this going to unite the Conservatives, or maybe move some of the one party members to the Conservatives, knowing that, they'll just be splitting the right wing vote, and as an end result, no win for either the Conservatives or the one BC party?
It is interesting that I didn't think. I mean, John Rustad was more of a strong utility politician, I think, rather than a leader. He got elected in Nechako, and he served there since 2009, and he's done a yeoman's job, stewarding the legislature, representing Nechako. I don't think he was cut out for. I mean, clearly he wasn't cut out for being a strong, effervescent leader, because they chopped him off at the knees here. I think that what they used was what was the clause, Dave, that they said they had lost confidence because he was there's only 3 things that you can kick him up for, like a leadership review and something like compos non mentis or something like that, where he's not able to continue on. And they said that it wasn't a physical disability, but it was a mental disability. So they sort of trumped up or created a mental disability so they could fit into one of the 3 categories, that one specific category, that they could get him out really quick. And
so similar to what we're trying to get rid of Dave on this podcast.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Good luck.
We're trying on the charter. The charter protects him, unfortunately. So we're stuck with the son of a gun. And it's the right always seems to eat their own this way. Pierre Poilievre, he brought the Conservatives to the most seats they've had, added millions of votes and voters, and yet still is struggling in the mud to get relevancy and to coalesce a broad following behind.
Even the popular vote, Tom. He drove the popular vote to over 41%, I think it was.
Yeah. No, he's made some difference, and his platforms are really silent. They just never get any traction because the legacy media doesn't promote or interview him with any of that. Anytime they interview a Pierre Poilievre or John Rustad, it's usually about the turmoil in the party and why people are crossing the floor, and not any of the more positive things. So they're stuck behind the 8 ball.
Well, I think all the Conservative leaders face that. They have an adversarial media.
You need superpowers to be able to overcome the media. And I don't think that in BC we have that. We have, people have been moderately happy with David Eby until lately, where he's kind of removed the cloak and it's Darth Vader underneath.
Yeah, no kidding.
To see Canada into an era of prosperity. We need a really strong leader. And I guess your question was it right to get rid of Rustad like that? Well, it's an unfortunate thing to do, and they don't have anybody replace him. So maybe it was the wrong time, but we need a leader. They need a leader.
Yeah. He had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did have to go, I would say. Although, having said that, he did, look what he did in the polls, or in the last election, I should say. I mean,
well, I think Tom hit the nail on the head, where he's a good party functionary, but he's not a leader. He's not going to bring everyone together and unite under a single banner, even though they
almost
may
an
have
accidental leader.
I think so.
True. I think why they did so well in the last provincial election, though, is that was at the peak of federal conservative popularity. And I think they got sort of a little bit of that carryover, maybe confusion. And so that might not be the case next time, because now the federal conservatives aren't as popular.
So the NDP is building baggage, though. I think the native file, the Aboriginal file, is going to hang really heavy around their neck soon.
Yeah. Wim, you've been associated closely with BC politics for years, decades. Some would argue centuries. And in this case, do you find that we vote a party in or we vote a party out? Like how are the electorates doing that when we have a party that comes to power? Do they come to power because we're kicking bums out, or because we're attracted to the new one?
I've seen both. I've seen both. Yeah, whereas the new leader is, it just sparks sort of like some excitement, and they're voting this new party in because the leader can just be so dynamic and popular that people just vote for the party. And you've seen elections where the government is just so badly hated for many different decisions, policies, that people are just sick of them, and they vote the party about and vote for just another party. And it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as they don't get the same old.
Well, I think historically too that it was more the former. They voted the parties out, and you would see again the Social Credit used to be the dominant party in the province, and you would see an occasional NDP government after 12 years of rule, and that they'd serve for a term, and then you get the natural governing party back in. That has changed in British Columbia, where now the natural governing party, I think, is left of center as opposed to right of center, with the population increase, mostly urban, the number of ridings being more in the concentrated areas where the population is. They are more left, and we are naturally less of a right-leaning electorate than we are a left-leaning electorate. I think now the natural governing party is going to be the New Democratic Party, and we'll see an occasional right of center party interject itself into those 12-year cycles and serve for one, possibly two terms.
What do you guys think of the 1BC splinter off the Conservatives? Dallas Brody, in particular, seems to be making her name out of herself with the Indigenous land claims, but also with the graves that have not been dug up and they haven't found bodies, and she's making that an issue. Is she dynamic enough, or has she painted herself into a corner that's not get outable, for lack of a better term?
I don't know enough about her, and I think she probably needs to be careful. Although I can't say I disagree with her. I mean, the Kamloops school, where they had claimed to have found these graves, haven't been proven, and they were given 12 million. The Indigenous band up there was given $12 million to sort through this and determine what's what, and find these graves. And they did use some ground penetrating equipment, but it never was determined that there were bodies. So, and then they didn't spend all the money. And where is that money now, and the rest of the money? So
and they fall under the convenient cloak of, we don't want to disturb ancient, sacred burial sites. Well, you know what? You're either going to have to prove your case or prove the point, and maybe even if it is a grave site, unmarked graves that have wooden crosses with the name on it, well, they're going to deteriorate over time. Back to John's question is, I think it's very dangerous. The BC One Party, they better work very hard to bring the Conservatives, that is, to bring those members back into the fold, because it may not be viewed as a threat again in the Lower Mainland of the province, but it's going to resonate very strongly in the interior and northern parts of our province, and they're going to find traction there. And there's a very good or a high likelihood that they're going to take seats, not just onesies, twosies, enough to steal a possible majority from a Conservative government if they have enough members wanting, or enough individuals wanting to run for them, particularly in the interior.
That's the perfect example of why I think multi-party systems are a disaster.
Is this also going to impact, like with the decline in popularity of the NDP, the provincial British Columbia NDP? I have a feeling it could also impact the federal NDP if there were to be an election held sooner than later, because I mean there is a decline. The popularity is declining. The NDP popularity is declining, and so it could maybe translate into federal votes. Your thoughts? And we'll wrap it up.
Go ahead, Dave.
In what regard? Like federal votes? You think?
Well-
I think all the parties are quite distinct and separate, federal and provincial. The alignment between the New Democrats provincially and federally, I don't think there's an easy crossover. I think your hardcore NDP voter
No.
is going to be an NDP voter, but the soft vote, like the fact is, the NDP never reached a threshold federally to be relevant. Occasionally, they held the balance of power, and they have to. The governing party, who may be in a minority position, has to pander to them, and they get their ways. That they get some policy consideration in that regard. But provincially, they're strong, and that voter is different. There's the core NDP, but there also is a lot of soft center voters provincially that find their way to the party. And I think it's those voters that shed off into the, if you have a more centrist, slightly center to the right party, they'll migrate without any guilt.
Last comment, if you have one, Tom.
Well, no, the only thing I would say is that it's the economy, stupid, as they've been always saying, that if we get fed up with the economy enough, then the current party in power will be in trouble. That's kind of the way it's been.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, it's so partisan in British Columbia. The major urban centers, Victoria, the island, and major Metro Vancouver, are classically liberal left, and the rest of the province is classically the right of center. And I don't think there's too much that's going to change that. Maybe a bad economy for the greater Metro Vancouver area could shift that around.
Well, the one thing you'll see federally and provincially, and it's sad really, is that parties know to concentrate their votes in areas where they're strongest. So the Liberals and the New Democrats will only focus on issues and messaging to those areas, those urban areas, because they know that those are vote-rich areas, and they don't really care about the folks in the more rural parts of the province or the country.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Their own agenda. Everybody has their own agenda.
Well, thank you, Dwight, from Surrey, British Columbia, which I was the city in which I grew up, Surrey. And no, great question, and it obviously something that we spent a lot of time on here. So obviously a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to David, and you brought something to the table today. As Tesla has recently reported to be developing a new electric motor that costs around $1,000, dramatically lowering EV production costs and challenging competitors. Now, within your comments, I'd like you to also answer if lowering the production costs, finding this inexpensive engine. Is this a race to the bottom? Maybe even lowering the quality of a vehicle to where one might be scared of even driving it. So I'll let you take it away.
Well, I mean, it's funny you should say that, because it is kind of lowering the quality of the vehicle.
Yeah,
and what they're doing. I actually stumbled across something, and I watched a clip, and I was at my daughter and son-in-law's place, and I had my son-in-law come over, and I said, this looks pretty professional. I don't think it's a poorly done presentation. It was regarding Tesla's new electric motor, the design for their upcoming Model 2, which I think is going to be their lowest cost model to date. I think they're targeting somewhere between $25,000 to $30,000 US for the car itself. It will also form strategically part of their robo-taxi fleet. So watching this, they showed this new motor that they were developing. And I say new, it's not really new. It's based on an old concept. But it gets back to the discussion we had a few weeks back about rare earth minerals and how valuable rare earth minerals have become, both in their industrial and military applications, but the geopolitical implications that flow from it, since China has cornered 90% of that market strategically creating a bottleneck in the supply chain, it's a very important part of our economy going forward. And it's not only a threat in a geopolitical threat. It's a threat to companies like Tesla, who manufacture millions of vehicles, and those vehicles can contain very expensive electric motors with very powerful, strong magnets as the key component in them. So Tesla is viewing things, or is attacking the problem from a slightly different angle. It's their most destructive cost-saving innovation yet, and it's a new electric motor that is designed to power the next generation of mass market vehicle, and that's specifically the Model 2, and not necessarily the other models. That's an important consideration. And the goal here isn't just efficiency, it is also affordability. Tesla's targeting a manufacturing cost for the entire unit WIM, both the motor and the inverter, of $1,000. That isn't just the electric motor. And their plan is to achieve this by pulling one of the most expensive components of the motor, and that's the rare earth elements. The move is far more than an engineering decision. It's a geopolitical one that could reshape global supply chains. So first, let's get a little comparison of the two. Like, we're talking about a battery that is now being used, which contains rare earth elements like neodymium and dysprosium.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, they're always some.
I hope that's not curable. I hope that's a curable disease.
These two elements create extremely powerful permanent magnets. So they're what's found in most all of the electric vehicles now. The advantage of having these powerful magnets is that you can have a motor that's very, very small relative to the vehicle, but very powerful. So you get a good long-range, high-performance EV out of the equation. Now, Tesla's new motor is going to have 0 rare earth elements in it.
Oh, really?
It's going to be 0.
Not the batteries. You're saying just the motor.
This is the electric motor, the actual motor itself. And there's speculation, and of course this is all speculation because Tesla has not released details on the motor yet. Probably strategically leaked some, and information gets out. But they're going to rely on ferrite magnets, which is primarily made from iron oxide.
Old-fashioned.
It's an old-fashioned. What really changes, Tom, is the shape of the motor itself. The ferrite magnets are far weaker. They only generate 1/9 the magnetic energy that the neodymium counterparts produce. So this is quite a downgrade as far as the electric motor's capability itself. But there are some advantages. There's obviously a massive cost reduction. They're dirt cheap as far as their components to create the battery. And again, we're going to be talking
Create the
about
engine or the battery?
This is the battery, or the engine. Sorry, the motor.
The engine.
And we're talking the electric motor that's going to be well under $1,000. I think there's.
Is it going to be
800.
Sorry, you probably haven't. I don't like you. This is not a science class, but I'm just curious. Will the engine be heavier because it's using ferrite rather than rare earths?
It will probably be heavier, but they're going to. Tesla has attacked it from a couple different angles. The design of the electric motor itself is different. It's a pancake shaped motor, and cool. This helps to create a magnetic field that would be stronger than otherwise in a traditional shape. Also, and we'll get back to the advantages. one of the advantages of this type of battery is it's far friendlier on the environment. It's less damaging for the to extract the minerals and the processing, whereas a lot of these rare earth minerals are quite nasty as far as not just the extraction, but really the processing is not environmentally friendly, and it's probably one of the main reasons why they come out of areas where governments
standards are lower.
Yeah, they don't have the same high standards. Now, so that we're talking about an electric motor that has lower power density. Because the magnet is much weaker, the motor itself must be physically larger, or it has to spin faster. And this is one of the ways or areas Tesla's targeting, is they're going to have a battery that's going to spin at 20,000 RPM.
The engine's going to spin at 20,000.
Engine. Sorry, I keep saying battery.
That's okay.
And
Okay.
Hey, he's on drugs. Give him a break.
One of the inherent problems with that is, as you spin, the battery or the motor itself enlarges, and it becomes unstable.
Oh,
so what Tesla is proposing, they are going to wrap it in carbon fiber, and carbon fiber is extremely strong. It's Tesla already does this in the Model S's electric motor, which is a very high performance electric motor in that car, and that keeps the battery contained so it can spin at a much higher at a much higher rate, higher speed. But that alone isn't going to make up for the 1/9.
No kidding.
Magnetic straight.
The S has 4 engines, right? Is that right? One for each wheel, and is it going to be like this for this other?
I don't know if the S has 2 options. If the Plaid is a 4 engine, and there's also a 2 engine for front and back. I'd have to look into that, Tom. But I know that there's one that what is it, 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds.
Crazy.
That might be an engine on a motor on each wheel. But I'd be guessing.
This is kind of cool. So this is like a throwaway engine. They're going to put in, you just take it out, throw it in the garbage or recycle, and you stick another one in for $1,000 and you're good to go.
Well, you certainly probably wouldn't be going after recovering a lot of the rare earth minerals that are found in it, or at least recovering the magnets. And again, the shape of the motor itself is called an axial flux motor, and it looks like a pancake. It's very flat. But to go along with that, they're going to integrate efficiencies with the platform of the vehicle itself. The vehicle is going to be designed to be much lighter, and hopefully just a safe one. But they're going to be using innovations like Tesla's gigacasting, where it's a single piece body parts. Large sections are stamped out in one go. It's much more efficient, and you can have reductions in weight. So that is going to save on the amount of power it needed to propel. And also the power electronics themselves, they're going to use the latest, most efficient power electronics, such as reducing the use of expensive silicon carbide by up to 75%. So it's going to make it that much lighter again. Now, it should be said that, again, this is going to target a vehicle which is going to give you adequate performance. You will not get the same off-the-line kick that you get in most any electric vehicle that you may have had the pleasure of being in. I have a Chevrolet Bolt, as both of you know, and you hit the accelerator and that thing goes. And that's because of the motor type that's in it. This motor will be less of the kick off the line, but will give you adequate horsepower to propel the vehicle. And again, targeting their lowest entry-level cost of a vehicle, and also for use in fleets, robo-taxis, where really that's perfect.
Dave, is this I'm guessing, but is this a constant velocity engine where when you turn it on, it brings itself up to 20,000 RPM, and then the transmission just takes care of transfer power from that point on?
I doubt it, because you're drawing, you're logically drawing at 20,000 RPM, lots of electricity to fuel that spinning.
Yeah.
Again, as you accelerate, it will be a gradual process up to your top rate, but it won't be, no, it won't just, you won't have like a continuously variable transmission that's hooked to it that moderates the speed.
Mhm.
How is that? How is this going to impact the battery life? Because I mean, that's probably the majority of every buyer's major concern.
Well, it's every manufacturer's concern, not so much. That's just a power source, so that's not going to change. What is difficult now, and I wish I knew specifically, but most of the batteries are nickel lithium batteries, and they're expensive. In China, and I think Tesla has been talking about having a cheaper battery that's much cheaper to manufacture, but has much lower energy density. So I don't know if it's lithium phosphate. Now I'm guessing, but it's a different compound that will give adequate range, but not range like the nickel lithium battery that most vehicles now use. The battery is going to be separate, and that'll be a different discussion, because that cost is what it is, and until there's dramatic cost savings to be had, either in the base material itself or the manufacturing process, the battery unit will be separate from the actual engine. What it does bring up, though, is that all these governments have been rushing to find platforms and to reorient their strategies, as far as the government strategies, to exploit rare earth mineral development, whether it's mining concessions, manufacturing thereof, incentives to encourage both of what I've just mentioned. How does it impact that? Because if you have a major adoption from the original vehicle manufacturers going to the less expensive electric motor, which has weaker batteries but much cheaper to produce batteries, that has an impact on the strategies of moving to rare earth elements. And from what I could gather is, yes, there will be some difficulties, particularly when you have an oversupply, as private companies look to fill a void. And China can at this moment flood markets to make things very difficult for startups to gain a foothold. But the one area where rare earth minerals are still going to be needed, and that's in the military, high performance markets, where you need these very, very strong batteries for higher end vehicles, or military applications where they're used in a lot of the military apparatus. There's structures as far as using to, I think it's targeting systems within missiles and such. So the need will decrease somewhat, but it won't go away, and there will probably be an ongoing requirement for more rare earth elements, particularly if we want to break the supply bottlenecks and the supply chains that China so effectively has dominated to lessen our dependence.
Tom, any final thoughts or questions today?
Yeah, well, the skeptic in me has an observation, and it's interesting. It's coincidental that all of a sudden Tesla is looking for ways to drive down the cost substantially just shortly after all the subsidies went off.
Oh yeah, but necessity is the mother of invention.
Well,
right?
I mean, that just points to the weakness of government programs to support industries for long term. And that is that they rest on their laurels and they just say, well, we don't have to really innovate or really take it seriously because we've got all these subsidies pouring in. And then when you stop them, all of a sudden, look at this, we found $1,000 engine. I mean,
Well,
I'm skeptical about it,
or
but
in
you know,
Canada,
or cynical.
where
Maybe
our
I'm
trade
cynical, but
minister
that's how I feel.
trumpets an agreement with a company like Nokia, who's going to invest heavily in Canada. Well, that's invest heavily after $400 million bribe was put out to attract them in the first place.
Yeah,
Governments trying to pick winners and losers and distort markets is always troublesome.
it is. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good, very, very short term, and then long term, they just screw the market right up. Like
Well,
this
that's a
$1,000 engine was probably waiting in the wings anyway through in R&D and development for like 2, 3, 4 years, and they're going to say, don't take it to production or even announcement yet until these subsidies are as dry as a desert in Arizona, and then we'll bring it out. I mean,
and there's the danger of introducing lots of tariffs.
Yep.
You create corporate welfare bums.
You do. It's got to be short. All right.
Right. Well, thanks, listener. Thanks, Dave, I should say, and listeners out there at the who are joining the Now We Know Better podcast. I should let you know that we truly believe that we're pretty smart. We don't ask anyone's opinion. We just gotta hope that you just believe it. But we do like to make predictions. So in today's predictions segment, we look ahead at the legal and political battle shaping the U.S. We'll be diving into the high-stakes question, will the Supreme Court strike down President Trump's tariffs as unconstitutional? These tariffs aimed at reshaping global trade and protecting American industries have sparked fierce debate, not just in Congress and among economists, but now in the courts. At the heart of the issue, whether the executive branch has stretched its constitutional authority too far in imposing these measures / tariffs. So let's break it down. What's at stake? How might the justices approach this whole question? And are we about to see a landmark ruling that could redefine presidential power in trade policy? Tom, let's get you started and tell me what your thoughts are on this.
Well, my prediction out of the gate is that the U.S. Supreme Court will uphold Trump's Emergency Powers Act, allowing him to assess tariffs based on the Emergency Powers Act and also based on something called the IEEPA of 1977. So my take on it is that they will uphold Trump's decisions. If they don't get too emotional about it, but we know that there are some emotional Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court. And so it'll be a split decision. It'll probably be 5-4 or something like that, because on the left, they'll say that Trump is mean and he's using it to treat the globe in a very mean way. So there'll be an emotional argument. But if it's strictly a constitutional argument, which is what it should be, then they have to side with Trump because he's the president of the United States of America. And specifically, tariffs they do say that Congress has the power of taxation, but a tariff, in my opinion, not a Supreme Court justice, is not a tax. A tariff is not a tax. Otherwise, it would have been called a tax. So it's a tariff. And it's not specifically mentioned in the powers of Congress act that allows them in article 1 of the Constitution that they can use only and exclusively them can use the power of taxation in the function of a tariff. So I think Article 2 will stand for the president, that he has sweeping powers to be able to continue to use the tariffs. God forbid if it does get overturned and he has to return billions and billions of dollars, that's going to really affect their GDP and their growth in the coming months. And if the liberals really want Trump's head that badly, where they'll wreck the country, then that's where we're headed.
That's scary, almost. Actually, it could be quite a dramatic pain for the American economy, for sure. Dave?
I've got a different view. I think that they're going to find against Trump. I think that he overstepped his powers. I think they're going to say that it is taxation indirectly, but still it is an increase in the revenues to government, just that it's being first placed on an intermediary, the businesses that have to import the goods or services that have been tariffed. There's been some comments from a couple of right-leaning justices that have suggested that they are going to have a very hard time finding for Trump's argument. I agree with you that it's going to be a bit of a pickle if they do rule against the president and the administration. That there's lots of companies, and Costco is suing the administration for their tariff policies. So
They're
and
doing
for
that
them to take
and they're doing that in anticipation of a ruling against Trump, which they can always withdraw that petition if it rules for Trump, but they'll be first in line if it rules against Trump.
Yeah,
So
but you would think that a company like Costco would be very careful. I mean, that's half of their consumer base is going to be Trump supporters. I would think that they have a feeling that it's going to be found that he overstepped his bounds, and really he shouldn't have the amount of power. That is not a direct threat. That is, he was very broad. I mean, he did not only put tariffs on his largest trading partners, he put tariffs on everybody.
Yes,
so
he does.
What is he saying? The whole world's a threat to them?
Well, I mean, I guess where it comes to the decision is the Emergency Powers Act exists. He can ban all imports under the Emergency Powers Act. He can ban them all. So anything less than
what is it? 90 days before Congress has to be brought before Congress. That's a time limited.
I think there's a cycle, and then it can be renewed again. And I don't know how that mechanism works, but the decision probably will rest in did he have the right to call an emergency and continue that emergency on for the length of his term is probably where the crux of the matter will be, not the actual wording of the Emergency Powers Act itself and whether that he can use the tariff. They'll probably say, if you really did have a real emergency, you could tariff, but you don't have a real emergency here. That's probably where they're going to fall if they go on your side.
Yeah. Although I would still lean to your argument on that, Tom. I don't think they're going to strike it down, and they'll find a way. There's not going to be probably any political interference necessarily with the judges, but you know what? They have ears. They hear things. They also recognize, implications, and it probably is one of those things that's maybe too close to decide for any of them. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a cut and dry decision. So if if anything, you're going to lean towards leaving that alone. Otherwise, the turmoil would just be too dramatic. Anyway, good discussion. So
write that down because I think I'm going to win this one. Wim, put it down. Okay. Put me down.
I've got it. Well, there's no winning on this one. We're just predictions. The winning comes when we get to point counterpoint.
Yeah, no. This is winning too. We have winning as part of our MO.
Winning.
Do you remember?
Tiger blood. We drink tiger blood.
I've won every one so far, as far as I remember.
No, I think
as far as you remember, yeah. Do you remember
too far?
Do you remember, Dave? Do you remember last week's Tom's horrific loss at point counterpoint?
It was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
I was embarrassed for him. I was blushing. I'd stick my head in that fireplace if I was him.
All right. If you've made it this far into the show, congratulations, listener. Either you're thoroughly entertained or you've developed an unusual tolerance for our ramblings. Either way, why not make it official? Hit the like button. Share this pod with someone who could use some sensical, maybe a little chaotic talk in their life. Or better yet, subscribe. Not only does it help us spread somewhat balanced information, but it also grants you unlimited access to our glorious attempts at making sense of the world. Now, we have tried enticing more listeners by offering a chance to win a dinner with Tom.
Oh, yeah?
There wasn't much interest. Well, actually none. So that's unfortunate. So we'll just carry on,
It was a tape one for Tom.
hopefully,
Oh my God.
seeing somewhat of an audience growth by your liking and sharing. All right, golf. A lot of people golf. How would you classify it? Is it a sport? Is it a game? Is it a hobby? Or is it a longevity tool? That last one seems like a little bit of a long shot. Or is it? And we are counting on you, Tom, to answer that burning question for all of us here listening and talking. Which is it?
What are my choices?
Oh, okay. The choices were a sport, a game, a hobby, or a longevity tool. I mean, you could go with all of the above if you want.
I'd like to
Look
take
at
all of
him,
the
Wim.
above
He's
to
not a
100,
golfer.
please.
Look at how pale he is. He's not
Yeah.
out there. He's playing video games all the time.
Well, he's no golfer because he has played golf with us, and yeah, we know he's no golfer.
Well, it takes
But
one to,
maybe
takes one to know one.
Yeah, okay. All right, but you do have some information about golf and why we golf, and what and maybe some excuses that we can tell our significant other as why we golf.
Well, you can tell them that you're going to be around a lot longer if you continue to golf, because there's a study that was done in 2009 by researchers at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden. Over 300,000 registered golfers were analyzed. It was a huge sample size, and the tracking was very precise, and the conclusion was blunt. Golfers had 40% lower mortality rate and outlived the general population by an average of how many years, guys? Take a wild guess.
40.
5.
5. It was 5 years on average.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
we're not
guys are
talking athletes or pros, just regular
5.
people.
It's hardly worth. It's hardly worth it for 5. 40, I do.
Well,
40
yeah,
is worth
Dave,
it.
here you'll live 5 years longer, which will be just a discouraging fact for the rest of us. Well, we'll live with it. So why is golf? It's all of us play golf. We love golf. Golf is fun. Takes a lot of time. However, there's a lot of reasons why they found that it not only extends your life physically, but mentally as well. You'll find that the walking a course, and that's maybe where we fall down. We don't walk the courses completely. So this study is
Well,
not for you.
we have to store
How
our
about-
beer in
How
something,
about,
and the golf cart
was
seems really.
there beer involved with that study too, Tom? Was
We're all
beer?
excluded from this study. 'cause
Cigars?
Cigars.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, you guys offset the benefits with cigars, whiskey, beer.
We
And
bring
golf
it back.
Well,
We're
actually-
gonna die early.
There should be a new study that shows that the golfers like you lose an average of 5 years off their life.
That'd be understandable.
Makes
You
sense.
have to walk the course. That's an important. But even if you take the golf cart and you park the golf cart on the cart lane and you walk to your ball, you're still putting in probably 3-4 miles on an 18 hole rather than 5 or 6. So there's still a fair amount of energy there. It doesn't spike your heart rate. This is a low cardio intensity a sport, if you will, but you are using physical energy during that time. And walking, as they say, if you just walk 20 minutes a week, even, they say it can extend your life. So golf does that times 18. Mental engagement. So, I mean, you get a guy like Wim, he gets to expand his vocabulary whenever he slices the ball into the woods. And so it helps him with his linguistical skills. And we've been all of a testament to that. It also helps you with strategy, decision-making, spatial awareness, calculations, adapting to changing conditions. So there's because it's a battle. We know it's a battle. It's a battle with ourselves. It's a battle with the golf ball and the course and your irons. And it's all mostly one-on-one. That's usually what it is. Even though we're battling with our partners and trying to get better scores, really it's a one-on-one thing. And so it really does help a lot in terms of your mental acuity. You have to reanalyze yourself. You have to question all your decisions all the time. So it's very, very good that way. Also, being out in the outdoors is another one. Being in green space exposure reduces cortisol levels. It improves your blood pressure, stabilizes your mood, other than Wim, and boosts immune function. At least it literally forces you into a natural environment for several hours. So you're bathed in sunlight, open air. It's what the human body was designed for. You're getting lots of vitamin D in the sunshine. Even here in BC, it's cloudy, but we do get a fair amount of vitamin D from the sun. Good social connection. That's another one, because we are verbally jousting throughout the entire game. We're keeping ourselves sharp.
It's more
and,
abusive than jousting.
what's that?
It's more abuse than jousting.
Yeah, pure abuse. Conversation, camaraderie, time spent with other people, the exchange of money, which I don't know, seems to go from my pocket to Dave's often. I'm not sure how that works out.
Oh, he keeps
No,
score.
not mine.
He
You're
keeps
my
score.
partner.
Oh,
It's
yes.
we're usually feeding the bad guys, Tom.
How does Wim ever make money at this game? I don't know. With his golf scores, it's astonishing.
Yeah, well, when he gets a stroke plus on every hole, like it's hard. All
It's
we have
very
to
hard.
do is trip. We have to trip one or two holes, and the slob manages to bogey, and he takes the hole for the team. It's not good.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna be making some edits to the game for 2026, Tom. It's
Well, I
gonna
think
be-
he would get better. You would think after a decade or
yeah,
two of
like
golf.
a decade of this, and we have to finally say either you get better or we adjust the game.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, how many golf courses do you think there are in North America? That includes Canada,
Oh,
United States.
20,000. 20,000 is my guess.
That's a really good guess. Really good guess.
Is it really?
I don't think it's that many. 12?
Well, what I've got on my research is showing it as 18,000, and only about 2,000 or so are in Canada, about 1,000 in Mexico. Most of them are in the United States. Did you know that almost half of the entire golf courses on the planet are in the United States of America? Pretty amazing. So that's another good reason why you want to golf, is because it's an abundance of golf courses. And studies have shown recently that people are picking the sport up again. It was in decline for a while, and then it picked up a lot since COVID. It was I believe that was one of the things you could do during COVID was golf. Was it not, guys?
It was.
I don't think you're allowed to say Jovid, which you pronounced Jovid wrong. Otherwise, we'll be banned from YouTube.
Remember,
I'm going to digress
touch
slightly.
the flagpoles.
Guess which is the strongest longevity sport of any kind. Just try a couple of guesses on it, and then I'll tell you the ones that do beat golfing.
Okay, all right. I'm going to
Curling.
say. Okay, Dave says curling. I'm going
No, not curling. I said hurling.
hurling.
Hurling. No idea what
What is-
that is. Okay.
what is hurling?
Wim?
Oh, okay. Well, it's the oldest sport known to man.
Let's
Okay,
not.
I
It's not in the
win.
top
That's
five.
called.
Hurling.
That's called when the caveman threw his wife.
No,
It's not called a
Hurling
sport.
is. You check it out. Irish. Hey, go get your little Google going over there, Tom.
So
Google is passe. Google's gone. It's not
When-
AI.
Get Gemini.
Yes.
Get Gemini on it or OpenAI. One of
Dave
those.
guessed wrong. Wim's not guessing, so I'll tell you.
I'm about to.
Well,
I'm ready
hurry
for
up
the
with your Google
dumbass to
search.
shut up.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, while you're looking that
Okay,
up,
I'm
I'll
ready.
tell you what they are.
I'm about to say it.
Okay.
Jousting.
No, it's not jousting. Number one is
Oh.
tennis. Tennis gives you almost 10 years life expectancy longer.
Tennis
Badminton
gives you
10
10 years extra life expectancy. Really?
Soccer 4.7 years. Cycling 3.7.
Oh, you framed that wrong. I thought you said the oldest sports.
You got to
the
listen.
longest-
You
the
got to
oldest-
listen a little bit longer.
Ah,
Maybe just listen
So-
in general.
So 18,000. Most of those are in the States, but it's growing again because young players are entering. The junior ranks have never been more full in working towards professional status. That pays well. There's another entire professional golf league called LIV that is paying huge money. So there's a huge vacuum uptake.
That's a small percentage of golfers, though.
Yes, it is, Wim, but we all aspire to that. We all
Yes, we do.
We keep hoping we're going to get our tour card back any day now. I keep
so
checking the
when
mail.
you got a pen and paper? Here's a
Yeah.
prediction. We're not going to be around to see its ultimate conclusion, but I predict that in
Why would we
100
even
years,
pick?
100 years time, there will be far fewer golf courses in North America.
In 100 years? Well,
In
probably.
100 years, particularly in the urban centers, as pressures mount, you will see, particularly in Vancouver, where we are, you will see intense pressure to either turn that into a parkland for use by a greater percentage of the population, or convert it into another use.
Yeah, very
100
very
years
well
will
put.
have been hit by an asteroid by that point in time.
You think?
100 years? Is that what you said? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So I think we should continue to golf, even though we're crappy golfers.
Okay, good to know.
yeah.
Well, we got a good excuse for a significant other. We can say, I have to golf. This is for my health.
It's true. That's what they're saying. I mean, the only danger is when we're inhaling the smoke and fumes when Wim is burning his scorecard at the end of the golf game. So that's
That is
pretty much
true.
it. I wanted to keep it light and fun, and just let you know that golf is a really good sport. I guess the toughest part, for me, is that it's fairly long. Like, it's close to 6 hours when you take in all of the banter and jousting that goes on before
And
and
the
after.
tailgate, and the tailgate
The
party.
tailgate parties, yeah, that
Yeah.
it all adds up.
It does. It does. Anyway, boys, back to you, Wim.
Thank you, Tom. Well, boys and girls, it's that time in the show for, you guessed it, Point Counterpoint. It's a nice, fun, and not too intense way to end the show. Our Point Counterpoint segment is where Dave and Tom are thrown into the ultimate verbal showdown. The rule is simple. I hand them a topic that they have no prior knowledge of, and then I assign them a stance. And like it or not, they must fiercely defend their given side, putting their debate skills to the test, their knowledge, their intelligence, their intellect, their mission, argument, passion, conviction, and just the right amount of theatrical outrage, all in the pursuit of the coveted prize, which, as we've said before, pretty much it's just gloating. Here is the topic, and are you two ready?
Yes.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay. Well, good luck to you both. Last time it was a slaughter, but this time we'll see how it goes. Kelowna, British Columbia area MLA Tara Armstrong of the 1BC Party introduced a bill, M228, Freedom Convoy Recognition Day Act, in December 2025, which proposes making March 11 a new statutory holiday in British Columbia to commemorate the 2022 Freedom Convoy. Now, the holiday name would be Freedom Convoy Recognition Day. The intent, Armstrong stated, is that the holiday is meant to recognize the achievements of the Freedom Convoy, one, if not the largest peaceful demonstrations in Canadian history. Advocacy groups in a riding called the proposal abhorrent.
Abhorrent.
Arguing
Yeah.
it replaces reconciliation efforts with a politicized commemoration of a divisive protest, whereas supporters say the Armstrong Frame Bill is a way to honor a moment of a divided nation beginning to heal. I'm not going to reiterate what the Freedom Convoy is. I think all of us know what it was. It was world news. I'm pretty sure all of our audience knows because they're the intelligence side of the equation. And you two know what's coming next.
Do we?
Counterpoint.
What's the question?
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you. The
Okay,
question
well,
is,
you seem to be taking a little time to
You
get
forgot.
there.
I think he wants to know if we know how to
We're
spell something.
prepared.
We are
okay.
so prepared.
Tom, you've employed hundreds of people. And another holiday is just going to add another layer of expense, having to pay double time for yet another statutory holiday alongside your other rationale that you'll have, that you'll debate. And Dave, you believe the Freedom Convoy deserves recognition, and the Freedom Convoy is worthy of a statutory holiday for all the reasons that you are going to present to the Now We Know Better pod listener. So I'm going to start with, where did I start last week? I think I
Started
started
with me.
Was it you last week?
Liar.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Dave. Oh yeah, he's right. All right, Dave, you're up. We want to know why you think a statutory holiday should be imposed on Canadians or British Columbians at least, because it's worthy of it.
Okay, well, I have a couple thoughts on it, and some of the reasons I'm all in favor of it may fall outside of the reconciliation umbrella. But if it means Tom's going to have to pay his employees double, I'm for it. So
Nice.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dave.
there's that part of it. There's also the part that I think Canada's productivity gains have been hovering somewhere around 0.5% for the last decade. So I don't like to see that go any higher. So we can bring that down a little bit by having more holidays. And why not a convoy freedom day, however we want to term it. We could have all the trucks coming to capitals throughout the country and honking horns and disrupting any businesses that might be operating that day, having to pay double time to their employees. I think it's a good way of showing that protests, particularly dissident protests, are something that should be supported and encouraged, quite frankly, because it's a way to get things done. It gives us recognition. I think if there wasn't that convoy of a few years back, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now, would we, Tom? No, we wouldn't. You don't have to answer. We wouldn't be talking about this. So a holiday will permanently make this a permanent fixture. And yes, if it helps to destroy any reconciliation project, that's just icing on the cake. So I would think
That's how you really feel.
I don't like the month. I'd rather see it move to June because I'd like to crush this whole Pride Month thing. So I'm thinking if we interject this into June, that might disrupt that sort of process.
Okay, well, Tom, you have a different opinion.
Well, he's using a sort of a proxy argument instead. I'm agnostic to that, but if it takes out this, I'm all for it. That's Dave's argument. Kind of a proxy one. I think it's interesting that when you really think about it, we want to have a holiday to honor the truckers' efforts to go all the way across Canada, so that they could be able to, because the whole point of the truckers was that they could cross the border and they could still be productive. And so we want to have a day off to support them in their goals to be productive. That is counterintuitive to me. Why would we want to tell the truckers, you can't drive on this day in honor of you driving all the other days? Let them drive. The whole point for me is that we honor truckers by letting them get in behind the wheel, turn the ignition on, and drive that damn 18-wheeler to its destination so that consumers can get their goods and services. Shutting them down for a day with a forced holiday, that's like censorship. That's even worse. That's like supporting Trudeau in saying, yes, we think the truckers are bad, so bad we're going to shut them down for an entire day just to prove them they can't ever do this again. That'll show them. Now, there's never mind the lost wages. Do you know how much every statutory holiday in Canada costs the economy? We're talking billions and billions of dollars every time you tell an employee, I'm going to pay you for not working today again. And it happens every month. You want one more of those, and it's going to cost us billions. And this economy is struggling, and Canada can't even get a pipeline to the coast and then they're going to have to take a day off this truckers thing. So the pipeline gets delayed by a day every year just for that alone. It's ludicrous. It's preposterous. You want to have a recognition day for the truckers? Fine. On the day that they maybe, when Tamara Lick got arrested, that cold, snowy Ottawa day, you want to have a recognition day then where maybe we honor them with some sort of little ceremony and we reflect quietly and in solitude about how the truckers have paid the price on this. Fine, I'm fine with that. And then get back to work and let the truckers put the key in the ignition and do what they do best: drive.
All right, Dave, you get one final comment. What would you like to say?
Okay, well, first of all, I think he's playing fast and loose with the figures. It's costing billions, Will, billions. Well, please cite a report or don't throw out these figures like they're facts. Figures aren't facts unless they're verified, Tom. That's the way I operate.
I'll send you the citation.
I present an argument fact-based, Wim. You could tell. I mean, don't rewind the tape. You can recall. It was fact-based. He's throwing. You talk about winging it, seat of his pants, boy. At any rate, I think he's gonna fall flat in his face like last week. It's becoming a habitual for him.
According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, one statutory holiday a year costs approximately $3.6 billion to the Canadian economy. This is based on Statistics Canada data from the Canadian Federation of Independent
What
Business.
organization is this?
So the CFIB. So you wanted a citation, and then you just turn away and start playing with your Tinker Toys. You're not interested in facts, like a typical liberal. You want to put me up to the challenge. I deliver, and you go, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. I meant something else."
I have to challenge those numbers. I think they're they're probably a paid advocacy group that you got those figures from.
Okay, prove that. You're the one that
Okay.
wants citations. You prove it. I just
I
did.
won again, Will? Did I win again?
Good job,
Think
you
we'll see.
two. There is a clear winner.
I smoked him.
Unfortunately, Dave, it's not you this week.
No.
Tom,
It was a bloodbath.
you did take
admit
that
it,
one.
a bloodbath.
You did take that one. It wasn't a bloodbath like it was last week's bloodbath.
Oh, yeah.
My God, that was you had
Like
pools
Coca-Cola,
of
it was a
pools
bloodbath.
of red under you last week.
I really didn't rev my engines up. I didn't spin it to 20,000 RPM. I should have, but I,
You would have blown up.
keep things civil.
All right. Any final words to our listener on this glorious day?
Did I tell you about the salmon in the creek behind me?
Oh my God.
I think you did ad
All
nauseum.
right. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, thanks to you all for listening and watching, and kindly hit that like button and share it with someone you love or hate. We don't care. Or better yet, subscribe. Not only does it help us spread somewhat balanced information to the masses, but it also encourages us to do more of this. And also, if you can, subscribe. Subscribing is a real big one.
It's a big one.
It's free, and it's free.
How do you do it?
You just hit the button right there, subscribe. See it right
Yeah,
there?
but there's no button on mine that says subscribe here.
Subscribe. It's right there.
Well,
Yeah, you'll
it's
find
right there.
Well, your Atari is not going to have a subscribe button on it.
Okay.
It's a Commodore. Get it straight.
For David Vanderzam, Tom McDonald, and myself, Wim, we will see you next time on the Now We Know Better podcast. Bye for now.
All right. Is it over?